Hello everyone. Can you hear me? This is Michael from Hummingbot. We're gonna kick off our monthly community call. Just give us a few minutes to get the technical stuff in order. I'm gonna check if my team can hear me, and then we'll get started. So just give us 5 minutes. I'll also wait 5 minutes for everyone to join. So yeah, just stay tuned. Okay. I think I am starting right now. 1 second. So, sorry, yeah. Let me just ask my team if they can hear me on Discord. Discord. Okay, great. Yeah, it looks like it's going well. Let's get started in about 3 minutes. We're going to go through an update on Hummingbot, as well as an update on basically everything that's happened in terms of releases, metrics, kind of community, and promotions in the next 45 minutes. Okay. I'm going to try to get the live stream on my here so that I can also see any questions people ask. So we're going to do an AMA at the very end. So what that means is if you guys have questions, please post them in the YouTube live stream. Normally we do this call on our Discord, but because we're going to present a presentation, that's why it's on YouTube today. And I think we're going to transition to YouTube live stream for all weekly calls going forward. Okay. Okay. I don't see chat, but okay. All right. So I think it's working. Just see chat. I don't know why. I actually don't see a live chat for some reason. Interesting. Live chat is disabled on the stream. Yeah. Okay. It looks like we disabled live chat here for some reason. Okay. Let me try to figure out why the live chat is not working for this one. Second. Okay. Well, why don't I get started? I think, I think if people have questions, I would say try to post them on Discord in the community call chat channel. And then we'll use that for questions at the end of the AMA, since live chat looks like we weren't able to figure out how to enable it for this time around. We'll get it fixed next time. Okay, well, let's get started. And then if you have any audio or technical issues, let me know as well on Discord, and I'll kind of go through this deck. So today, a few things. We're going to try to have a standardized format for these monthly calls and try to make it as informative as possible for the community. So first, I'll give you an overview of Hummingbot and kind of the purpose of these weekly calls. I'll then go over the metrics in terms of how the Hummingbot and the foundation have done over the past month. Then I'll talk about releases. Basically, we do a monthly release every month. And then we'll go into bounties, which we use to incentivize developers to contribute to the code base. We also work with exchanges on promotions for the community. And finally, we'll cover a set of any questions people from the community have. So starting off, let me give you an overview of what Hummingbot is and kind of like basically where we are today. So as most of you know, Hummingbot is open source market making software. We connect to over 50 centralized and decentralized exchanges, and we try to create a single general purpose open source code base that people can use and build whatever strategies and scripts that they want. So the idea is that people can contribute strategies, other people can contribute connectors, and then overall the code base is more and more powerful. We launched about 3 years ago. So since then, we've become the leading open source crypto trading bot. And we've had over 1 million GitHub clones and downloads since we first started. But what really drives us is really our community. I believe we have the largest community of market makers in crypto, both individual as well as professional. Now, Hummingbot is something that a lot of projects run themselves instead of having to hire expensive market makers like Jump or Alameda Research. And even a lot of smaller market makers are running their operations on top of Hummingbot, including some of the largest names in the industry like 3J and System 9. And when I was in Lisbon for Solana Breakpoint last week, I met up with Volpax and Roboter, who built our Solana integration and who are actively using Hummingbot to market make for new token projects on Solana. So, but what we do at Hummingbot Foundation is we are essentially a DAO that allows the community to decide how the code base should evolve. They do that through either having pull requests or forum discussions that then turn into proposals on Snapshot that people can vote on. And once they're approved, then our team works with the developers to merge that change or fix into the code base and include that in a monthly release. So when people vote, they vote using the HBOT token. So that token is really the key. It's like the community governance token. So it really allows people to really control how the code base evolves by approving pull requests, by approving bounties and grants to developers for improving it. And any surplus in the treasury is also controlled by token holders. So they can use it to either for grants or other purposes. And they also elect the board of directors at the foundation every 12 months. So in the past, I think we've been a bit haphazard about communicating to the community, but starting about a few months ago, we started to organize weekly developer calls. So now we've had a call every week, and now I think because we're seeing a lot of interest in the community to learn about how Hummingbot works, we're going to do essentially a lesson every single week. So today is a monthly community call, but then every other week, every week besides that, we do a community presentation, either about an aspect of the code base or as a presentation from some community members. So the way we're going to do it is every second Wednesday of the month will be the general community call. And then every Wednesday, besides that, every other week, it's some type of more developer-oriented call that talks about some aspect of the code base and tries to teach a mini lesson to people who join the call. We also might start experimenting with incentives for people to join the calls, perhaps some NFTs or HBOT token rewards, because we do want to try to increase the level of participation and engagement with the community. So now let's go into metrics. So second part here, and with metrics, we want to try to kind of basically explain and communicate everything to this. So let's go into kind of what the numbers look like for Hummingbot and the foundation over the past month. So we publish a dashboard, a public dashboard that shows the reported volumes from Hummingbot clients on a real-time basis. So this is what our volumes have looked like for the past week. As you can see, it's relatively spiky, which is consistent with how the crypto markets are. But on average, we typically see about $50 to $100 million per day in volume throughout the code base. Most of that volume are on centralized exchanges, with Binance being the biggest. But there is a massive long tail of other exchanges. As you can see here, there's probably at least 100 exchanges. Probably like over in the last month, looks like there were probably over about 80 exchanges being used with Hummingbot. So most of these are official versions, but we have seen a lot of forks as well from people using it. We are starting to see some usage of the decentralized exchange connectors, mostly for testing purposes. But as we expand the connectors there and improve the user experience on the gateway module, we think that this same kind of trend will happen, and decentralized exchanges will be a larger and larger part of the volumes in the future. This dashboard is publicly accessible. So if you go to our website, our docs website, docs.hummingbot.org/reporting, you can also see a link to this dashboard. So now let's talk about revenues. So our main revenue source to date has been partnerships with exchanges that gives a fee share for how much volume is delivered and used by Hummingbot users. Unfortunately, this number has actually been decreasing throughout this year. So at the very beginning of this year, when we launched the foundation, we were collecting about $50,000 per month from our exchange partners. As volumes overall have dropped in the industry, that number has gone down and unfortunately hit a year-to-date low of $15,000 per month in October. So obviously, we're trying to grow this number. We're working with exchanges to do various promotions, which incentivize the community to deliver more volume. But ultimately, I think the long term, we need to move away from this revenue stream to sustain the foundation. And the reason is because it's not just that these are great partners, but there's kind of like because it's actually hard to rely on. As you can see, we actually have a number of partnerships with exchanges who have never paid us anything, and so the time it takes on our side to try to kind of like get the exchanges every month to kind of pay us what we deserve is a very cumbersome process, and so that's why the foundation is also looking to start some additional revenue streams as well. One of the ones we're most excited about is Botcamp. So we're starting with very small cohorts where we teach people how to do market making in a virtual online course. But there's been a massive kind of level of interest in that. So we're pretty confident that we're going to fill this cohort very quickly and start doing monthly cohorts, on a monthly basis and really expand, not just the user base, but the number of examples of scripts and code base, and also tack on a secondary revenue stream. In addition, we're pretty excited about starting to flesh out another revenue stream, which are partnerships with RPC providers. We've realized that on the DEX side, when you're trading with Hummingbot on a DEX, the latency you have with your node really matters because what happens is when times are most volatile, that's actually when there's a lot more congestion at the node. And that's when having kind of like a better node connection or even a dedicated node might make more sense. So as we kind of grow out the DEX connector base, we're going to explore partnerships with RPC providers like Anchor in order to kind of like essentially, like the same way that we do central exchanges, have some type of volume or sign up based incentive for the users. So on the expenses side, currently we have a 13-person headcount at the foundation. Right now, our monthly expense rate, this is the salaries and also all monthly expenses at the foundation are about $50,000. So as you can see, when we first launched when exchange fee share was 50K, that's when we're breaking even. But today, as the exchange fee share has gone down, we're not quite breaking even anymore. So we've started to dip into the grant that we received from Coin Alpha. However, it's our goal to become sustainable and even grow a surplus every single month. So that's why we are actively pushing to grow secondary revenue streams like Botcamp and like RPC provider partnerships in order to become self-sustainable as an organization. We also hold a lot of HBOT in the treasury. Currently, we are giving them out in terms of dev grants, but the long-term goal is to work with the community to identify other community-based use cases for the HBOT token and to try to create more utility for the token over time. Speaking of the token, we get many questions about the HBOT token, specifically, why it's only trading on a small market on Uniswap, and why it's not listed on any centralized exchanges yet. So let me take a few minutes to explain why before we move into the rest of the presentation. So currently, we expect that the HBOT token will be listed on centralized exchanges sometime in Q1 of next year. And the reason is because we've been working with our lawyers to ensure that we get a proper legal opinion as to the status of the HBOT token. Our lawyers have requested that we make certain changes in the governance system to allow the token to be more decentralized and to give the community more power. And so they want to kind of see that before they issue the memo. One of the big changes we made recently was to end the delegation system that HBOT currently has. So this is a system that we put in place when the foundation first launched in order to give the folks who had locked up tokens some ability to vote their tokens. Because otherwise, if only the people who had tokens were able to vote, basically means that the vast majority of the HBOT holders would not be able to participate because their tokens were locked up. However, this it was kind of all or none thing because we did it through snapshot. So once the HBOT token holders are able to actually vote their tokens, they can release them to the wallets. I don't think we really need this delegation system anymore. So about a few weeks ago, we did a poll and the community agreed, and so the delegation system will be ending in March 2023. So because the system is ending, we believe that we will be able to list the HBOT token sometime in Q1 next year. In addition, unfortunately, we did bridge some HBOT tokens over to Avalanche, and unfortunately, it was right before the Nomad hack that we actually used Nomad to bridge tokens over. So we did end up losing about 1% in the token supply due to the hack. However, those tokens have already kind of hit the market, and the token is kind of back up to where it was before. However, we do want to make sure that any of our users who bridge the tokens over to Nomad will be able to get them back. So we're talking to Nomad right now about how HBOT holders on Avalanche can kind of get compensated for the hack. So there's really two possibilities. The first possibility is that the Nomad bridge may be rebooted again, and therefore users who have HBOT tokens on the Avalanche side can then bridge them back to Ethereum. The other possibility, if that doesn't happen, is that we have received a number of HBOT tokens in the recovery address. And so any users, if the bridge will not be rebooted, and if users can't get their tokens back, then we will essentially use those recovery tokens to compensate users. So there should be a resolution for this issue in the next, I believe, in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So I hope that gives you an overview of Hummingbot from a metrics perspective. Now let's talk about what was in the last release and what's coming up in future releases of Hummingbot. So in the last release, which was 1.9, we really focused on kind of adding more example scripts into the code base related to Botcamp. So for Botcamp, we did a beta cohort in September. So people added a number of good examples, like we added simple scripts that serve as reference points for pure market making and for cross-exchange market making. And we also had community members submit scripts, which we believe will be good examples for other people in the future. So we added the triangular arbitrage script, the adjusted mid-price, and a simple RSI example, which some of these will be in 1.10 because they weren't included in time for 1.9. In addition, we added a new centralized exchange connector for Eve Exchange. This is a new kind of like a exchange that's recently launched, and Coin Alpha built the connector, and they thought that everyone would benefit from having this connector in the open source code base, so it was added in the last release. Also, we have a new community tool. So this actually came from a video that one of our leading liquidity miners, Wojak, did for the community about, I think about 5 months ago, where he presented on YouTube a system where he uses to manage multiple bots and to track the performance using this tool that he had built himself. So now he has open source tool. So now it's available to everyone in the community. So if you look in the community tools repo, you should find this tool. And there's also a video on our YouTube which shows you how to use it. In addition, there's also the Hummingbot post-process tool, which is also there, which helps you analyze Hummingbot trade logs. So if you're looking for kind of ways to kind of help you use Hummingbot better, I do encourage you to look at the community tools repository GitHub. So So in 1.10, we actually have a lot more things coming. This is the release that will be scheduled for the end of this month. And because of the recent kind of like bounties that we're now using to fund maintenance in the connector, um, we have a bunch of new central exchange connectors, um, new DEX connectors, as well as new scripting strategies coming out in the in the in the code base. So that's really kind of like where we're kind of focused. I see a question on the community call channel that so the calls on YouTube. So I think if someone could post a link, I think Nikita's already posted a link. But we're doing the call on YouTube today in order to present this deck. But if you have questions, please post them on the community call chat channel in Discord because that's where we're going to take questions. Apologies for confusion. I think next time around we'll probably try to do everything in YouTube so that we have just one link that everyone can use. So the 1.1 release is really going to be a big one because we're adding a bunch of new functionality in terms of both connectors and strategies and scripts to the code base. So our QA team is currently hard at work on reviewing all these connectors and others. Some of these connectors may kind of slip until 1.11, but we are going to try to get as many connectors merged in to 1.10 as possible. That does include the FTX professional connector, which obviously, given the news last night, may not be as useful as it was before. But as an open source code base, this is kind of why we're open source because we connect to every exchange, and so hopefully the folks who aren't not able to use FTX perpetual can use Gate.io perpetual or all the other connectors that we have in code base. If you want to see exactly where things are related to what's coming in every release, I encourage you to check out our pull request status board. This is a public board on our GitHub. So we have a link here, but you can also go to it. You could go to YouTube and click on projects. So each column shows you the real-time status of a pull request in the code base. So we have the ones in the far right where the pull request merged in to version 1.9. The ones in the development 1.10 column have already been merged into the next release. And you can also see the pull requests that our team is currently reviewing, the ones that are on deck, as well as the ones that need dev work later on. This should give you a real-time view. So we'll try to update this every day so the community knows exactly what's coming and when those changes will be in the next release. So now let's talk about the bounties. So recently, about 3 months ago, we started to incorporate bounties to help developers, contribute into the code base. So we have both bug bounties that people can pick up for fixing bugs, as well as improvement bounties, larger pieces of work that we fund using HBOT tokens as well. Similar to the pull request board, there is a bounties board on our GitHub. So it's also a GitHub project. And this shows you the real-time status of the open bounties, which ones have been assigned, and which bounties have been submitted by the community and that we're currently reviewing, which ones we've merged into the code base, and which ones we have actually paid developers already. So actually, it looks like we have some outstanding bounties to pay out. So we typically try to do that, once a week or so. So we'll make sure to make these payouts in the next week. But this process is really designed to allow the community to help contribute to the code base and earn HBOT tokens for doing so. So this is really focused on bugs and kind of like really targeted improvements to various kind of exchange connectors. In addition, we also have a number of kind of larger bounties that we give out to community members as a result of approved Hummingbot improvement proposals, or HIPs. So we have a number of kind of like larger projects being worked on by members of the community. We still have, by the way, this actually comes from the HBOT tracker sheet, which is another public artifact that community members can look at. It's available on our docs site, docs.hummingbot.org /HBOT. So this shows you all the approved HIPs, the snapshots for them, how much HBOT was allocated, distributed, and undistributed. So there's some large ones I want to call out. We have a team from a startup from the community called Roboter that's been working on the Solana integration for a long time. I'm pleased to report that it is finally ready for prime time. In fact, they're already using it to market make and support new token launches on Serum. In fact, we just did a demo on Monday where we showed that working in production, and we'll get the video for that presentation posted on YouTube in the next few days. They're also going to be they also got HIP approved to build a Ripple connector, so they'll be doing that on Ripple. In addition, we also have approved HIPs for other new chains like Near, Kronos, and Cosmos that will be coming soon, all be worked on by other members of the community. I also want to give everyone an update on the orchestration project that we approved by HIP a couple months ago. So we've been following up with the two developers, Klipanagi and Holiest Roger, who are working on that. They've actually made a good amount of progress. So we're going to do a catch-up call with them next week, but we're looking forward to having something that the community can test in short order. So we're really excited about this bounties process, and we believe that this is the main way that we will encourage developers to support the community going forward. I do see a question on the community call channel, and since it's related to bounties, I'm going to cover it now. So if you have any questions, please post them on the call chat. So community member Preze asks, I saw on the proposal discussion that someone pointed out GMX as a decentralized exchange. There are others like GNS, etc. And given recent developments on FTX insolvency, I think DEXs will be more and more important as a future as trust in SEX is broken. We'd like to hear your opinion on it and how the HBOT community can focus more on that. I completely agree. Obviously what happened last night was a big shock to the community, crypto community at large. And speaking for myself personally, I was actually using FTX, as my main centralized exchange trading venue. So I have no idea what's going to happen to my funds on FTX, and I'm sure the same thing is true for many other customers on the FTX. I agree. This shows the the inherent lack of trust that you can have in non-transparent centralized exchanges and other institutions, and underscores why we as a community, we need DeFi. We need exchanges where it's transparent, where you can see the trades, the order book on chain. And I do think that's why a lot of our bounties and efforts going forward, we've focused on the decentralized side. So I think I'm really looking forward to building integration, having community build integrations for these new exchanges launching, whether it's on Solana, whether it's on Near, whether it's, we're also talking to a bunch of other order book exchanges now, on other chains as well. But I think that if we can build that out and create the ability for people to provide liquidity to those decentralized exchanges, I think it should unlock, hopefully, using real DEXs, and hopefully allows the community to move away from centralized exchanges altogether. So I think that I would say, just given everything else, it makes me personally much more excited, and I feel like it's much more. This is why DEXs are absolutely necessary. So let's move on to some more fun stuff now. I also want to talk about some of the promotions we're starting to do with various exchanges as well. So this is something that we started doing recently as well, because we realized that we have a large community, and if we can work with exchanges to create benefits for the community, then it gives the community a bigger edge, and also drives more volume through Hummingbot. So it's really a win-win for us, the community, and the exchange. So we're just concluding one of the first ones we're doing. So we organized a trading competition with Gate.io, where there's a $16,000 prize pool, and so everyone who's basically do this for a month are going to basically join this prop trading competition. In addition, we're also going to give out a voucher, $1,000 value voucher to Botcamp, to the winner of this trading competition. So yeah, we're this is kind of an experiment that we took on with Gate, but I think we had over something like 70 or 80 people participate, and they generate a lot of volume. So I think this was a pretty big success, and we're going to try to do something very similar with other exchanges as well. So we also have we're also working with KuCoin on a zero fee promotion. This one actually was finished. So I think it was this one. I think we're going to evaluate and see if it makes sense. But yeah, I think whether it's fee discount promotions or trading competitions, we're going to try to do these more with different exchanges as well. And then we're one active with Huobi right now, where any Hummingbot user that signs up for Huobi will get a 50% fee discount rebate. If you use our referral code for, I believe it's I think a 2 or 3 month period. This is still active, so any users who wants to pay lower fees in Huobi, just sign up using our referral code, and you should be able to get limited fees for a significant amount of time. Some upcoming promotions. We're also working on a trading competition similar to the Gate one with a Sendex, and we should be able to announce that in the next 1 month. In addition, I want to mention the miner raffle. So currently we're working with Coin Alpha to promote a usage of the miner platform, and the way we're doing that is there's a weekly raffle where people who have volume on the miner platform get raffle tickets, and they earn HBOT giveaways at the end of the week. This is actually something that Coin Alpha is running, but we're working with them to ensure that to get the word out and to allow everyone in the community to join that raffle. So that's really it. So I think hopefully that gives you everyone some insights into what's going on with Hummingbot in the last month. We're going to try to do a very similar format every month, just to really keep everyone informed. This is also going to be posted on YouTube. So I guess if anyone has more questions, please post them on the community call chat on YouTube, if you're on YouTube, and we'll try to answer your questions in the last 10 minutes or so of the presentation. And as we wait for questions, I'll use the rest of the time. I think maybe I can just talk a bit about kind of like what's happened in the crypto market in the past few days, and just add my own personal thoughts. So I think trust and transparency is the most important thing that we can have in the industry. And that's actually why I was a huge supporter of FTX and the folks there. I still am. I know a lot of the folks very well, which is why that's why I trusted them with my own money. And I was I trade on every exchange, but the one that I was doing the most trading on, I had the most money on, was FTX. And so when this whole thing went down, when there was a CoinDesk article, I think last week, about potential insolvency in Alameda, I think I along with many other people in crypto who felt like we were insiders, dismissed it. We felt it was FUD because Alameda and FTX have always been known as upstanding actors and like kind of the good guys in the industry. So until 5 o'clock yesterday, I was actually considering buying even more FTT, to show my kind of like support for the token. But But unfortunately, it turned out that they were actually doing something that was not good. And so the way I think about it is that if you're an exchange, um, exchanges have one job, which is to take customer deposits and to allow customers to trade with one another. That's how they make money because they make fees off of every trade we make. That's why exchanges in the U.S., are regulated so that they cannot do anything with customer deposits. Um, you know, those they have to be locked up and held safely. Because of lack of regulation in international markets, there's no kind of safeguards there. And the only thing that could have happened, given what's happened, is that the if FTX could not meet withdrawals, uh, in my opinion, the only plausible explanation is that they were taking customer deposits and moving them off the exchange and doing something else with them. So I'm sure the news will come out later on, but I don't think you can look to Binance or any other person to kind of that cause this. If an exchange cannot meet customer deposits, um, they are doing fraudulent activity. Period. So, I mean, honestly, it was a shock to me. I really thought that they were the good guys. I really thought I could trust them, and I'm sorry to everyone in the community that used the FTX connector through Hummingbot and had funds on there, just like we did. Um, but I think this, as I mentioned before, I think this just underscores the need for open, transparent exchanges, which are either regulated, centralized exchanges, or they're transparent, open, decentralized exchanges where we can see everything's happening. And I think hopefully, I'm seeing this happen already on the decentralized side, where we're seeing more and more decentralized exchanges that are faster, more usable, with more liquidity than ever. And I hope that Hummingbot we can play a role in helping those decentralized exchanges actually become viable. So that's all I'll say on this subject. But let me take some more questions from the community call chat, and then we'll end it this call here. So Soothsayer asks, he's just put an observation. If the foundation makes money from the trading fees, but recent promotions are for zero fee trades, how would that benefit the foundation? That's a great question, actually. So part of it is, I think that well, we believe that these zero fee promotions are going to help drive more users into the community. Some of the zero fee promotion that we did, it was like even though it may have brought down some of the KuCoin fees we did, we think there's the more valuable thing is that it actually gets people to make money with Hummingbot. Because the more people that are making money with Hummingbot, the more that they kind of like learn how to use it, and hopefully that kind of grows the user in the back end. But in general, I would say I think just this exchange fee share kind of partnership we have with centralized exchanges. It's not just that it's hard to grow. It's also a very unreliable stream of revenue for us. And the main reason is because the exchanges, we have no transparency into what the exchanges do. So we've actually seen cases this year where the volumes on the exchange, we're seeing them kind of like stay the same as before, but the fee share we're collecting from the exchange has dropped significantly. And so it's almost like we have no recourse against exchange. We just need to kind of hope and pray that they pay us their fair share, which is not a very comfortable position to be in. And so that's why we think that the long-term solution is we are going to expand the user base to try to grow that in the long term. But the long-term solution is to add other revenue streams like education with Botcamp, like RPC provider partnerships that reduce our reliance on central exchanges from a revenue perspective. Yeah, and then I think P838 says we should always pay attention to criticism. I totally agree. I think that I think there's a tendency to kind of like get higher on supply, if you will. Even for us, like we try to make sure that I think it's our job, whether it's your small kind of token project like us or a large one like FTX. I think you can always have to kind of take it with a grain of salt that we don't know. This is a finance industry. Everything moves incredibly fast, and so the best thing we can do is just try to be open and try to take advice from as many people as possible. So one question, let's see, someone says, Daedalus 76, more people using Hummingbot Miner will dilute the rewards and the users, um, but will the increased use of the mining platform drive up the rewards in the future? Absolutely, yeah. So we actually see this a lot where Miner is a two-sided marketplace. So the more, the obviously, I think, um, like most two-sided marketplaces, there's always one side that drives it. And so for Miner, it is the reward side. So what we found is, obviously, the more rewards there are, the more people are available to chase those rewards. However, it does help if there's more users, because what attracts the coins to do campaigns at Miner is seeing how much liquidity, but also how many people are providing liquidity to the token. So that's why we've seen Avalanche be a consistent customer of the Miner platform. But even for the new tokens joining, what they want to see is basically liquidity and volume. So I think the more people that participate, the more that those smaller coins will renew their campaigns, and hopefully the more rewards we see on the Miner platform in the future. But it is very much like a two-sided marketplace where you have kind of like reward pools, liquidity providers, and so hopefully we can kind of keep on growing both sides of the equation. Now, to be honest, we have seen the total reward pool on the mining platform drop from something like, I think it was like 50K at the beginning of the year down to 20K. Now, some of that is just, the markets are kind of coming down in price, but it is consistent. So we are seeing more and more coins being added to the miner platform, in part because Coin Alpha is also kind of expanding as well and continue to kind of like, do add more biz dev and salespeople to sell the miner platform to the market. So we do think that as kind of the Coin Alpha team grows and as Hummingbot grows, we'll be able to keep on growing the miner platform as well. Memento Miri asks, we have many supported sex decks, but only a few give out fees. Have we pushed all and most rejected us as an HBOT? So it's actually a mix there. So part of it is we need bandwidth to kind of go after all these exchanges, and we will only have 13 people at the foundation. And we actually just recently started this promotional kind of thing. So the thing with fees is that one thing is that we actually have agreements with many exchanges, but a lot of them just haven't paid us anything. So I'll show you the list again. So this is one thing we found, which is that like it's not just about which exchange you actually kind of connect to, but also the ability to actually collect from the exchange afterwards. So a number of exchanges, when we first started, we signed agreements with like Bitfinex, Bitmart, and Probit, and even though we do see volumes from the exchanges, they haven't paid us anything. Now we have talked to them, but this is really about, I think, these a lot of these central exchanges, because they have no visibility in what's going on their side. It's almost like, yeah, we need to kind of like just wait for them to pay us. So we are trying to grow this a little bit, but ultimately, like if you look at some of these numbers, like it's not even worth going after. So for us, what we found is that the miner platform is really driving volumes. So if you look at the top exchanges here, Binance, Gate, KuCoin, and Ascendex have been the largest kind of fee contributors. And to me, the correlation with the miner platform is the key. So in some ways, I think that in order to grow the exchange fee share volume, I think actually growing miner volume, miner rewards and miner volumes is actually the best way to do that because of the correlation between miner volumes and the exchange fee share volumes. So Lano asks, do we have some figures showing how Hummingbot users affect the liquidity on each exchange we support? Some metrics allowing us to sell to the market maker community. It's a good question, actually. So, well, we have that on the miner platform, and that's kind of why we're able to sell that to issuers. In terms of the metrics showing to sell to the market maker community, I would say the market maker community, well, I think it's, I would say on the tracking side, we actually don't track the liquidity aspect. So this is more because right now the only data we track is um, the aggregate trade volume that's reported. And one reason for that is because we've had pushback from certain users, especially the larger ones, that they didn't want to send us a lot of information. So right now, essentially, the only data points we currently collect are the exchange name and the aggregate volume. So we don't collect any details on orders or anything else like that. So I think I would say I think the real question is how do we expand the Hummo community, get more fees flowing through the system, so we can, hire more people, grow the team, and try to support the community better and to grow everything. So I think actually I would say that's kind of why we're trying all these initiatives, whether it's Botcamp to educate the community, promotions to allow exchanges and create more reasons to use Hummingbot. But I think so we're trying a bunch of things, but ultimately I think we're going to try to see which of these initiatives actually work and stick with the ones that actually work. So the ones that personally I'm personally most excited about, number one is probably Botcamp, because I do think that there's a very steep learning curve for Hummingbot, and if we can teach people, get them comfortable and confident in using market making tool like Hummingbot, then that's the key in growing the users who are successful with the product. And the second thing I'm excited about is really these trading competitions, because I do think there's something about competitions, and it's also something the exchanges are naturally doing. So I think for instance, the gate one that we did, I think has been a smashing success, and we're already seeing that AscendX wants to do something very similar. And so I think that the more of these like trading competitions we can work on with exchanges, the more it will also just increase the rationale for people to use the tool. We're running a bit long, but it looks like there's more people typing. So I'll stick around for another 10 minutes and try to answer as many questions I can from you guys. Csair says um, he recommends some type of public shaming for non-paying exchanges Hall of Shame, and see if we can get a community to reduce the trades there and see if it affects liquidity on the exchanges on a practical level. That is actually not a bad idea, actually. I think that that is something that we can definitely implement because there are some exchanges that, not gonna, Probit, for example, where we're seeing like hundreds of million of volume this year. We have an active agreement with them, and we have literally not seen a single dime from the exchange. I think this is a great idea, and yeah, let us work on this and see if we can, get something that will hopefully get these exchanges to pay their fair share. But yeah, I see that from the Discord votes that this is definitely a popular idea, and I think it's a great one. Thank you to Sarah for suggesting that. See, yeah. So, any more questions? Ask them now, and then we'll otherwise we'll probably end the call pretty shortly. Also, if you're wondering where I am right now, I'm actually in Porto, Portugal. Um, so I was in Lisbon for the Solana event, the break, but basically to demo Hummingbot on working on Solana on Monday. And then I'm currently in Porto, Portugal, where one of our designers works. And so, because we're also going to improve the Hummingbot website a lot in the next few weeks, and we'll add more pages. Some of the pages I think in the docs, like the about page, the community page, and exchanges page, we're going to try to add to the website and try to make that the home of the Hummingbot community more. So it looks like we're wrapping up. So I think yeah, if you guys have any more questions, put them in the chat and we'll try to answer them maybe asynchronously. I want to thank everyone for joining this call. We had a lot of questions, and hopefully this is a good template. If you have any feedback for other topics you want us to cover in these general calls or other kind of things I didn't bring up, please let them just post it on the community call chat, and we'll try to iterate and improve on this process every month. Thanks, everyone, and happy trading.